Okay. All right, there we go. So we are live on everywhere except for I'm going to get Amazon going live, and then I'm going to get
Okay.
well. So what's going on, everybody? We've got Inked Wellness. Is it Mombie or Mombie? Like how? Like is it
Mombie,
really?
like mom
Yeah,
and zombie, Mombie.
Mombie. Yeah. So I like to say Roro, Rosie, Rosemary. I like all the names, by the way.
All the nicknames.
I appreciate all of them. So get rocking here on TikTok. I'm going to refresh this so we can get going on that. Let's make sure another device is previewing. Let's join the live. Should be able to get live here on Amazon as well. And then TikTok, where are we at? Boom. Okay. Practice, add our camera. There we go. Okay, I think we're just probably going to do TikTok from my phone because for some reason I figured this was going to be a pain in the butt using two different cameras on one. Oh no, it's ready to start. Here we go. Okay. Now I got to pull it up in the actual studio. All right, so this is like, again, we were talking about this before we went live, like just getting everything set up is my like probably least favorite part.
Oh yeah. When I tried to do TikTok, I think it was TikTok and no, it was Instagram and Facebook at the same time. I was like having struggles with one, and then the other one didn't want to connect. And then the view that the other one was getting, I was like, okay, we'll try this. And people are joining, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Hi.
Hey, everyone. Right, there we go. Okay. Yeah. So I forgot it's going to make me use my phone for TikTok over here. So this is perfect. Okay. This is why I have, like, again, multiple camera setups and everyone watching. That's why I appreciate Gina and Josh for tagging in and helping, because that's always an interesting piece. And while we're doing this, I figured, Rose, you want to introduce yourself? Figured plug social media. I also put everything in the description so you guys can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, plug your groups, plug everything you got going on before we jump into the fun and like workout part.
Alrighty, I mean, try to keep it short and sweet. My name is Rosemary. I'm in New York, technically Long Island, and my dogs like to talk. But I pretty much do a little bit of everything. So Amazon, I do a lot of like onset and not very much offset right now, but I'll be adding that hopefully soon this year. But a lot of product reviews, brand deals. I do UGC. I also do some local like businesses as well, like food reviews, as well as kid play programs. And I also help like people get into learning how to earn from home, whether it's, you know, something I do or just like anything that they need with their own business. But I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube. I think like everything, Facebook, Pinterest, like I think I'm on Lemonade, but I don't think I really even use it much, but there's a lot. But, you know, I am a mom of two. I have two dogs. I used to work overnights in the ER, and I was always kind of like a content creator, and it's just kind of like changed over the last like 5 to 10 years, you know, what I was working on. I used to do a lot of beer events and liquor events and foods, restaurants and beer fest, and kind of trickled into motherhood. Also like my son's journey for autism, and then kind of got into more brand deals and UGC. So just like, you know, transform as I adapt with life. It kind of adapted with me. So.
Yeah. So basically the recap of that and why we're here today too is you're just crushing it in like all these different areas, right? And then because of that, life can get crazy, and with that we can use support. So I'm really excited, and thanks for entrusting me to like tag in on the like health and fitness side of things, and that's what we're going to kind of get into today. Now I pretty much got all the cameras set up, pretty much got everything situated. We'll see, we'll keep test running as we're going through this. There's two things I always like to share. Is one, the first person to comment on each platform, I will send you a $50 LOF gift card to use for any of our coaching, hat, apparel. You'll even be able to use it on our retreat. If you want to join in for a remote pass, you can apply it to that. And on TikTok specifically, if you comment and you follow, I'm doing a band giveaway. So for specifically on TikTok. And yeah, all that being said, ask us questions as we go through it. But we're going to like, this is literally like a diagnostic session. So what that means is, first and foremost, Rose, thanks for doing the work ahead of time, meaning going through the, that's what I'm actually going to pull up really quick. And we're going to go through together, and I'm going to screen share a little bit of the information for us. So if you guys are watching on, unfortunately, TikTok, that's the only place you're not going to see the screen share. You're just going to kind of see me chatting with Rose and going through some of this stuff. But everywhere else, you'll see the screen share component of it. So I'm going to plug that part in. And I always like to show like how we set things up and how to navigate things. Because the thing I actually said, not only we're going to go through the workouts today, but we have some meal planning as well. Now, I'll be honest with you, with the meal plan, the way I set it up and the workouts we're going to go through and everything, this is more of a bird's eye view. So what that means is we're going into the more generalized. Like today, this is a diagnostic workout. This is pretty much what we're going to be going through today. First, we're going to warm up a little bit more. I'm not just going to have you jump right into this dynamic hip opener. We're going to get a little bit of blood flow going, warm up. We're going to use our bands. We're going to modify a couple of things. We're not going to be doing the wall sit. I'm going to tweak that. We're not going to be doing the bench dip, and we're not going to be doing the pull up. We're going to do a couple different things. They're going to give me some great insight. And more or less, we do this to be able to collect information for me to see where everyone's body's at when we first get started. So Rose, for you, we're going to kind of see everyone has imbalances, myself included. So we're just trying to tease out, hey, where might we be stronger? Where might we have some weakness in our chain? And where do we have growth opportunities? And then the other part is I'm going to hop onto our meal part of it really quickly. So this is again, a quick, like, generated one, and we're going to dial this in over time. So I don't expect you to make all this stuff like all the time, but the point of me sharing it is it's going to have a basic caloric breakdown, a protein breakdown, and give a lot of ideas on different things we can do for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We don't even have to necessarily do just breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack, but it's just kind of piecing off the information you gave us. And the cool thing I do like to show really quick, specifically for you or anyone watching, is if we want to swap the meal. So let's say I do want to have breakfast, there's a little arrow down here, but I don't want to make flourless easy muffins or like egg muffins. I could just type in like egg, and if we want to have eggs, it'll give every kind of egg option you could possibly think of. If we want to have omelets, it'll give pretty much every omelet variation. So you can kind of type in what you have. The other cool part to this and the meal plan, and then we'll kind of dive more into the physical side, is you could literally just take pictures of your food and you don't even have to like log the calories and stuff. I'm not a huge fan of counting calories all the time. What I really want to focus on more than anything else is just bringing some awareness to our food and being able to hit certain protein levels to support the training that we're doing, help with fullness and our gut health and all these other types of fun things that we'll continuously work on as we go. But I wanted to just highlight that for you because you'll have this in your phone once we get the app dialed in and all of that. You can literally, what I would encourage is just take pictures of your food. Don't count calories. Don't worry about all that other fun stuff. And even if you don't eat this stuff, you can substitute and swap or get different ideas. We have a whole full-blown library. But I'm going to stop sharing from there. I want to pause and I'm going to resize a little bit our screen, and then we'll zoom back out when we get into the workouts. I'm curious, what, if any, questions? I'm putting you on the spot already. When it comes to either the like nutrition side of things or when it comes to any requests or preferences from that. And if you don't have any off the top of your head, that's totally cool. We'll dive into it. And then always when questions do come up, happy to answer them. But when it comes to like nutrition stuff, any of that, hit me with any questions you have.
Yeah, I think it's just really like, I think sometimes it's like the food shopping. It's like, having this stuff and like, because like sometimes it gets overwhelming. Like you look at something, you're like, I can make that. And then you're like, I don't even have the stuff to make it. So I think it's like, I guess being more proactive with food shopping properly so that when you get home, it's easier. Because I feel like once you have this stuff, it's not so much like, making it. It's really just making sure you have this stuff and like putting that together all the time, like every single week, like, okay, I need to have these things on hand so that I'm eating properly. Because I feel like once I have it here, especially already cooked or in the fridge, like if I have hard boiled eggs, I'll go reach for that before I go reach for something else.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly said. And one of the things we're going to focus on and what I care more about is even some of the resources that I will be able to walk through. I'm going to screen share one more thing. It's really focusing more on goals and habits. Now, it auto defaults to a goal around nutrition. Now, I don't really want us to obsess about counting calories or these hard numbers. What I care more about is we're going to pick one habit. We don't have it set up right now, but we're going to get that from the end of today. We're going to pick one habit we're going to focus on week by week. So here is where it'll show up. And what that could mean is going back to the food shopping thing is when I go food shopping, I'm going to get these 10 items, for example. We'll work through that together and I'll give you a cheat sheet that I have that we share separately, that it will live in the app. And it basically says, here's a cheat sheet of when you go food shopping, the items to get. and it's really versatile options. So even if we get like eggs, we get a certain kind of vegetables, and having strategies of walking the perimeter of a food store. I don't know if you've ever heard that strategy, but like, hey, we're gonna stay on the
Yeah.
outer portion of produce, like dairy, those types of things. So the point of all of that is we're going to focus on the habit. We'll add that in here. And then whether it's every day we're checking off the habit, if it's 2 times a week, we're going to set up different frequencies of the habits. And then we can actually track them. That's the cool part with this is I can see, all right, cool. We were able to check off our habits this week. Maybe we did it 50% of the time. We did 80% of the time. And we'll set goals related to that. But even going back to the food shopping, I'll also send you a kind of cheat sheet shopping list of basic standard things to get that can hit a lot of these recipes. So it's less stressful and less overwhelming. And the other piece we'll consider is it's not just for you, right? You mentioned before you have kids, you have a family. It's cooking and trying to make it as simple as possible for everybody as well as for yourself. So that's what we're going to go through in strategies and then consider like taking feedback and be like, okay, cool. Maybe like I know my older daughter especially is a little bit pickier of all the bunch. So it's having certain strategies on what we're going to have for them and then what we can have as well. And we'll go through that. But all that to say, just wanted to like walk us through a little bit of that. We get to go into the actual like diagnostic for today. And the first thing we're going to do with our diagnostic and with the workout for today is literally just get warmed up. And we have a variety of things. The cool thing is we got to connect prior at an event that Gina was throwing out in the Hamptons, and you already got a set of bands. So we're going to actually lean on the bands a little bit. A lot of times when I do a diagnostic session with someone or someone on my team does a diagnostic session, we assume they don't have bands and we're going to send them to them, but you already have them. So with that being said, we get warmed up with them, but we're going to do something. We're going to do 2 different things. The one thing I like to ask, I actually want to save it for the live, was talk to me about any restrictions or anything that might cause pain or that we want to be mindful of. Even if it's just, hey, feeling sore, I slept kind of weird last night, my neck's feeling like anything that's jumping out at you that we should be mindful of.
I think the only thing is really like besides having the plantar fasciitis in my feet, like I am a little sore from a couple of days ago. It's crazy because it's been a couple of days, but I did those like it was like yoga, but also like body sculpt Pilates class. It was like previews, and we did a bunch of in one day, one afternoon. So I feel like I'm still a little bit sore from that, but like not terrible. I feel like my thing is like I don't have a lot of like flexibility and like strength, so everything is like getting refreshed. It's been a really long time since I used a lot of muscles or like did certain movements.
Yeah, and that's really today is going to be about getting blood flow, being able to help support where we have soreness, and also we're going to address a couple of things, even with the plantar fasciitis, and even with just some of the again what we're going to tease out with some of the movements. So with that being said, I'm going to stand up and we're going to kind of walk through the first movement. Now, with this first movement, we don't need the bands just yet, but we will get to the bands. But we'll walk through it when we get to that. The first thing we're going to do is I like to start with low to no impact to get our body temperature up. So I'm going to actually start my watch because I'm going to track this as like a workout for me too, even though I'm not fully going to be working out. I like to track data. So with that being said, the first thing we're going to do, Rose, and then I'm going to just show you for the first 10 to 15 seconds, and then I'm going to get closer to the camera to watch your movement, is we're going to do a no impact jumping jack. So that's a fancy way of saying we're going to swing our arms overhead and step one leg to the side and then come back to the center. And then we do the same thing to the opposite side. So we're swinging our arms and stepping off to the side. And the goal here is, again, we're going to do this for a minute. The idea is, again, not to get a crazy body temperature increase yet, not to get a crazy heart rate symptoms. We're just slowly greasing the groove for our hip joints, for our shoulder joints, and seeing how that feels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like come back in by the camera. I'm going to have you step back, and then I'm going to set a timer here. We're going to do this for 60 seconds. And while we're doing this, the thing I want you to focus on is breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth as best as you can. If there's any pain, any discomfort, or anything jumps out at you, just let me know. How does that sound?
Sounds good. So I'm doing like a actual jumping jack, but then stepping to each side.
Yeah, and I don't want you to actually jump. I just want you to step. So it's basically taking the impact portion out of it as we get warm.
Okay.
All right, ready? And
yeah.
Let's rock. Got you on the clock. We're just yes, exactly. And that's literally it. So we're getting our hips and our shoulder joints moving. Your body temperature will come up. You will get your heart rate up. I don't want to underplay this. Like the point of it is to get my heart rate already went above 100 while I was doing that. as we go through it for a minute, it will compound. We'll take about 15 to 30 seconds. And then we are going to build from there and work even through some squat movements to, again, help raise our body temperature. Good. How's that feeling so far? Already halfway home.
Good.
Easy money. Also, I get really hyped. Y'all notice this. The one thing I miss when I'm doing remote training versus doing it in person, I love high-fiving. And I feel like when I do high five, that's like, you saw that from like when I was doing it, even with the band, like I love to like high five everybody.
Yes. You were walking around motivating us and giving high fives.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing. So we got about 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and rest. Beautiful. We're going to take like 15 seconds. I just want you to breathe. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to step back and walk us through this. I don't want to give you actually too much coaching or prompting on the squat. What you're going to do, though, is you have 2 options for how you're going to position your hands. We can either do our arms crossed for a squat, or you could do what's like traditionally, I think it's a hilarious name for the movement. What's called a prisoner squat, hands overhead. And this helps kind of get a little bit more posture, whatever feels good for your shoulders and your back. So either hands are up overhead, our arms are crossed, and all I want us doing is we're trying to squat. And each rep, we're trying to get a little bit deeper. If their hips feel like, even there, my hips felt a little tight. So I'm like, ooh, I'm going to stop there, come back up. And then next time I'm going to try and get a little bit deeper, come back up. And we're going to do that for a minute. So I'm going to, again, creep back in here so I can check the technique, take a couple notes. And with that being said, let's rock it for a minute. I got you on the clock. Oh, yeah, we're going for that posture. I see you, Roro. I see you. And that's beautiful. Good. So you got good control, good range of motion. One thing I always like to get, you're going to hear me ask this a million times today, is any or just, oh, look, the dogs are
they're concerned.
Hey, what's going on? It's okay. I promise everything's okay. It's easy for me to say, right?
What's up? You said what tip were you giving me?
I was just even saying while we're going through it, I'm gonna ask a million times any pain, any discomfort. That's the only thing you're gonna hear me ask a million times today is like, talk to me about any pain or discomfort.
Right now, no pain except my 2 dogs.
Except for dogs hopping on you and getting all that. 10 more seconds, and then again we're gonna progress this. So you got another 5, 4, 3, 2, and rest. Beautiful job. Let's take about 30 to 60 seconds. So this is where I want you to breathe. If you want to grab a sip of water, something to drink. That's the one thing I got to say. I slacked on my end. I didn't give you a very good job of cueing to make sure we have water or anything.
Yeah.
I trusted you to like be prepared. You are awesome. And what we're going to do now is we're going to bust out our bands and be able to look through our range of motion on our shoulders. So with that being said, I want you to look for your long loop bands, the yellow ones. So I'm going to get mine as well. And we're going to demonstrate this movement. I'm going to demonstrate it first. And I'm going to just kind of like, realize I got to bring my other camera up here to get a better shot. Here we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to work a little bit more. We got the hips moving a little bit, range of motion. I appreciate the love on YouTube. They're giving some hearts and some love on YouTube. We're going to take our bands, get them just like nice and wide, a little bit of slack. And what we're looking for is we're going to try and bring it up overhead. And then as I go back around, this is why I like bands versus like a broomstick. We did this at the workshop as well. I'm going to pull them apart as I need to get it basically down to my back and my butt. So I'm going from my hip to my butt. And we're doing, these are sometimes called shoulder dislocates. We're not actually dislocating our shoulder, hopefully. Or I promise you we won't. We're just going to go back and forth, and we're going to do this for about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Wow, that's pretty rough. No, I'm just chatting on the comments. You got some harsh crit. Well, I appreciate the realness. Good. We got 30 seconds, and we're going to be going again back and forth. Rita's keeping it real. I see you, Rita. You got 15 more seconds. Is what I do love about like online and live streaming is like able to interact with people, but even like trolls, even having harsh feedback is like still real feedback. All right, good. We got one more time back and forth. Good. And rest. Beautiful. So how does that feel, by the way? Talk to me about any pain, any discomfort.
No pain. I feel it. Like, it's not like I don't feel anything, but I don't feel like, oh my God, like that is impossible. So
Yeah, that's kind of what we're going for. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do one more before we go into the rest of our openers and our movements. Is we're going to take that same thing and we're going to bring it around the world, as I like to call it. So we're going to bring it up over our head and then back the other way. This is probably the most coordinatedly challenging movement once you first start doing it. But once you kind of get into the groove, it feels quite nice. So we're basically trying to like lasso around our head and then windshield wipe to the other side and come back around. So we're going to do that again for 30 seconds, going one way and the other way. Good. How does that feel again? Also, same thing. Any pain, any discomfort?
nope.
Good. So now what I want you to do, I'm going to take it a step further because that looks good. So I want you to freeze when your hand's overhead, and I'm going to give you a prompt to do the same thing. So you're going to bring that hand overhead, and then what I want you to do is bring it to the opposite side.
Bring it to the opposite side?
Yeah, so as you bring it up, we're going to keep it, and then you're just going to like pull it to the opposite side. Yes, there you go. And then we'll go back the way we came. So you're going to go, yes, there you go. Bingo. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Good. And then yes, and rest. Beautiful. All right, so we're going to put the band down. Okay? Now we're going to get into a little bit more of a hip opener, and then we're going to start with balance coordination testing. So when I say a hip opener, we're going to combine two different things. So we're putting two of our dynamic stretches together. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show it to you from two angles. The side angle is we're going to kind of hinge down, dragging our hands down our legs, and then we're going to walk our hands out. From this front perspective, dragging those hands down, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we're going to walk those hands out basically in a push-up position. And I'm going to bring my camera down so you can see from another angle. And walk it out into that push-up.
I'm moving them so that they don't keep jumping.
I got you. This is where we'll bring it down.
Lean towards me and then walk out my hands down my legs.
That's exactly it. So we're going to kind of hinge down, and then we're going to walk our hands out. And this is actually, again, going to be nice and challenging for the upper body. And then from here, we're going to drop a knee down, and we'll bring our foot up and get a nice little hip stretch. But first, let's just get through that first phase where you're hinging down and walking your hands out. Good. That's exactly it. Perfect. Nice. Now we're going to drop our right knee down, and then we're going to bring our left foot up, and then we're going to just reach up with our left hand up towards the ceiling. Yes, that's it. Beautiful. Now we'll switch those sides. So left hand goes down. Now your right foot is going to come up. Your left knee is down, and then your right hand is going to come up towards the ceiling. Boom. Beautiful. And rest. Now we'll bring those hands back. We're going to pop up off our knees, and we're going to come all the way back up to our feet. And there we go. That's going to be one rep. Now what we're going to try and do is do that 3 times. So we're going through that entire motion 3 times. So again, we're hinging forward, walking those hands out, dropping down to our right knee, left foot comes up, reaching up towards that ceiling. Boom. We're going to switch those hands, do the same thing on the opposite side. Reach. Beautiful. And then we're going to pop up off our knees, walk our hands back in. We'll repeat that one more time. So we're going to hinge back down, walking it out. Get it, Rose. Knee down. And even this is what I love. It really helps stimulate your heart rate by having to move up and down and go through all these different positions. And then, again, reaching. Beautiful. Walk it and rest. So let's just take a minute here. Now we're going to rest, grab a sip of water, and we'll just check in. So now we're going to take that moment to breathe, right? Take that moment to grab a little sip. Kind of kick my camera back. And I want to just do a little pulse check. Check in with you. How you feeling, Rose? That was awesome.
I feel more like that was a little bit more intense. Doesn't hurt, but I could feel like more of a struggle in that. Getting down to the floor and getting back up. And I definitely feel like my left, my like one side is a little bit more weaker than my other, so a little bit off balance, but it's not terrible. Like,
okay,
I expect to feel like, struggled.
And that's what a great just piece of awareness I like to look at is like left to right where we might have imbalances, as well as upper and lower body, front to back, where we feel it more, where we feel it less. So with that being said, now what we're going to go into is one more kind of dynamic stretch and movement, and then we're going to go right into our single leg balance. For this one, what we're going to do is I'm just going to change our camera angle here a little bit more so that the TikTok peeps can kind of see this angle. And what we're going to do is do a little bit more of a hip opener. So we already got the hips quite a bit, but since we're using them a lot, we want to make sure. So we're going to straddle our legs, get our feet nice and wide. I'm going to bring this camera down so you can kind of see what my feet and my hips are doing. And again, we're getting nice and wide. All we're going to do here, what we're focusing on is taking our hips, bringing them to the left while straightening out that right leg. Slight bend in the left leg, come back up. And then we do the same thing to the right side. So we're going to take our hips to the right, straighten that left leg out. And we're going to match that to our breath. So as I exhale, I go to one side. As I inhale, I come back up. And then exhale back to the other side. I'm just going to do this for about 30 seconds. So I'm going to set a timer here. And I'm just going to check in to see how those hips are moving, how everything's feeling. Yes. Good. Nice. How's that feeling, by the way? Especially left to right. We're always looking for if one side jumps out to you more than the other.
Yeah, it feels good. I hear things cracking.
Yeah. So that's a perfect thing to I always look at that as an opportunity. We got about 5 more seconds here as an opportunity to tag in on what is that. A lot of times that's what we call synovial fluid. It's like why our knuckles crack, similar to that, and rest. Not always the case, but a lot of times it is synovial fluid, basically pockets of air and fluid moving around in the joint, and just movement helps with that. Now, if that's followed by pain or discomfort, that's something we want to be mindful of, versus sometimes just lubricating the joints is what's kind of happening. So now we kind of got the dynamic stretching. We'll kind of use this as a water break. And what we're going to go into for our first movement, I'm going to make sure that you can kind of see this from the camera, because what we're focusing on here is the feet. This is a single leg balancing test more than anything else. And what I mean by that is with our left foot staying down, we're going to try and just bring our right foot off the ground. And it doesn't have to be all the way at 90 degrees, but we just want to bring our right foot off and hovering, whether it's behind us, whether it's in front of us, off to the side, and just bringing that right leg up. Okay. And we're going to try and hold it as long as we can without that foot tapping to the ground. And I'm going to set a timer and I will see how that feels. Okay. Talk to me about any questions.
Alrighty. So right leg up and try to balance.
Exactly. And we're trying to make sure your right foot doesn't have to touch the ground. Eventually it will. You're going to have to eventually touch the ground. If we get to a certain checkpoint, I'll tell you to stop. Or if your right foot touches the ground, we'll stop. Either way is fine.
Okay.
All right. Ready? And let's rock. Yes. Beautiful. Good. Now we're just trying to breathe and hold. And see if I can distract you while we're going through this. This is my favorite. So while we're going through this, how's your weekend looking, by the way? Do you got any fun plans?
What's this weekend? I do. I have to go Sunday to a event for a business in Queens. It's for Jamaican food. They're gonna be opening now to do events in their lower level. So to help promote them, they're gonna be doing karaoke, I think brunch and something else. So I'm gonna go there.
Oh, there you go. Time. Perfect. That's perfect. So you got 40 seconds. That was awesome. Pretty much almost spot on. So now we're going to do the same thing on the opposite leg.
Okay.
Ready? We'll get the left leg up and do the same thing. I got you.
Ready?
Yep. Let's rock it. I got you on the clock. Perfect. I got the clock right. That was awesome, by the way. So now that you've already hit a checkpoint, I'm going to kind of tell you what we're looking for. There's a couple different checkpoints along the way. We're looking for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and 60 seconds when it comes to this balancing test. And each one has its own things we're going to do from a progression standpoint or things we're going to look at. Now, what we'll also see is left to right, how much of a gap do we have potentially in our balance? That's another interesting piece to it. So that was 40 seconds. We're pretty much almost right there from a stability and balancing perspective. But immediately that gives me feedback. There's some opportunity that we can use to focus on some ankle strengthening, foot strengthening, dexterity work, which doesn't sound super sexy, or it doesn't sound like
Yeah.
cool. It's not gonna make like my change how my butt looks, or like that's usually like arms or like whatever, quads, but it actually gives us a really good base. And yeah, you can see there's actually like a really interesting, you can see the difference between your right and your left leg as far as which one's up and which one's feeling, and time. So that's already a minute. So we'll stop it right there. So they are able to max out on one side versus the other, which is again not right or wrong. It's just helpful to know that. And I'm just jotting this down. Now here's the fun test. We're going to take about 45 more seconds. We're going to do the same thing the second round. However, the second round, I'm going to have you close your eyes before you lift your leg off the ground. And it's going to be like really the checkpoint's like 10 seconds. And that's really hard, if I'm being honest with you. Now, what I want to make sure is as you go to do this, before you do this, I want to make sure there's nothing around you that you could potentially like trip on or get like fall over on, because it like will lose balance quite fast. Our eyes are a huge part of our balancing system.
No, but I think I'm pretty safe.
Okay. So we'll take about 10 more seconds, and then we will get into eyes closed round. I can already, like this is already giving me some good insight of some things we can do from a lower body standpoint, where there's not a huge amount. It's just from left to right. I can see that we'll have some opportunity to bring in some balance. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Once you are set, close those eyes, and then you'll lift your foot off the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and bam, 10. Beautiful.
Definitely a little hard.
Yeah, you feel it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're gonna do. Like I'm just jotting down my notes. So now I want you to close those eyes. Then you're gonna bring your left foot off the ground, and we'll do our 10-second countdown.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and bam, rest. Beautiful. So we got. So you can see like you're like left to right, even like once the eyes are closed, it can get a little like, wonky, or just it's again challenging. And here's the other trick to this is like if I had you not even work out, but just train yourself getting used to standing on one leg with your eyes closed, your score would improve by itself. But it's just because you're not like, I don't know, how many times do you like stand on one leg with your eyes closed in the normal day? Like probably not a lot, right?
No.
It's not like a thing, but that's why I like to tease out to see where our system's at, because then there's certain things we can do that'll help from an injury prevention standpoint. There's a lot of things that will come from that'll keep us safe long term. So now what we're going to do is we're going to transition a little bit. There's usually 2 ways I will approach how I position exercises or order the exercises. So usually it's we have the choice. Do I want to just do everything on my feet first, then go to the ground? But personally, what I like to do is mix between upper and lower body movements. So the lower body gets a chance to rest, and then we can do an upper body movement. It can work. And then when we go back to lower body, it's a little bit fresher. So we're going to go back and forth, if that's okay with you. Well,
that's fine.
Now go into a floor movement. So I'm going to bring my kind of laptop to the ground. And guys, floor movement, I mean, we're just going to basically do a plank. And there's a couple different variations of planks that we can explore. But the one we're going to explore today is what we call a elbow plank. So we're going to do it from our forearms or from our elbows. And I'm going to go into a couple of cues and prompts here. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to set a timer. I'm going to see how long you can hold it for. And we're going to have checkpoints along the way. I'm not going to tell you what the checkpoints are, though, until after we do our first round, because we're going to end up doing this for 2 rounds today. And this is going to be a really impactful kind of data point and number that we're going to get. And then we'll take it from there. So with that being said, I'm going to show you from 2 positions. First is going to be front on, and then the second is going to be from the side. So you can kind of see a couple different things. The thing I like to do is do a natural lie position. When I say natural lie, what I mean is our arms hang out at our side, and then we kind of drag them forward. And that's where we position our elbows. So we know the proper spacing to it. And then the other piece is I bring this camera down. I'm going to bring this camera down so you guys can see what I'm doing with my hands here. The hands and the elbows are the most important part for this. Is we want our palms facing up. It's going to be tempting for them to come together and touch or go palms down. What we want is palms facing up. That's the challenging part to this. And then I'm going to show you from a side perspective so you can kind of see some hip positioning and how we want to position our body. Same thing again, we're going to have that nice elbow position. So shoulder width, palms are up. And from here, we actually are going to have a little bit of rounding in the back. Everyone thinks we want a perfectly flat back, somewhat, but we're going to kind of scoop our hips under, pinch those shoulder blades back, and we're relatively flat here, but there's a little bit, just a bit of rounding in our upper back. When I say rounding, it's a natural curvature to our spine. So I don't want to like give the illusion like we want to purposely have an over exaggerated round. It's naturally going to be rounded just a bit, but by pulling those shoulder blades back, it helps with that positioning. And then also by scooping our hips under. So I'm going to kind of show it from a kneeling position. I always call it the Kim Kardashian or no Kardashian effect. So Kim Kardashian, like butt sticks out. No Kardashian, we like scoop the hips under, which gets our butt to fire up more, but it just feels kind of awkward and it's almost counterintuitive. So that's overall the little positional cues and prompts I wanted to just kind of like walk us through. So with that being said, talk to me about what do you think?
Yeah, I'll definitely try that. I think I could do that and see if I could lower maybe so you could see what I'm actually doing.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, this is always the fun part about doing it remotely versus like me being able to just walk around where you're at. But I appreciate you rolling with it, Rose.
That's fine.
And then what we're going to do is once you have to touch your knees back to the ground, that's what's going to cause the time to stop.
Okay.
All right. When you're ready, I'll get the clock going. And bam. So now let's see if I can, again, distract you as we're going through. That's the key part. And the cool thing why I like even doing like videos and recording where we can, even if we're not like live streaming, we're just doing it like a private Zoom call to record, is we can see progression on our technique and our body positioning. Also, what I want you to feel is like if your hips want to tilt left versus right, these are like little things I'm looking for as well in our positioning. And where there's like, if there's pain in your lower back, especially, that's where we want to pull the plug. I don't want there to necessarily be pain. It can get fatigued, but I don't want there to be pain, especially in your lower back. Good. We're already at like seconds. Get it. Yeah. So that was, where's my number? Yeah, we had 40 seconds on that one. So we're going to rest and we're going to do one more round, but we're going to take 2 minutes to rest here. Want to get a nice rest. We'll do that one more round. Now, this is where I'll share some of the like data points on it. So where and this actually I'd be able to use like the school I went to, because like in the South, especially, no one really knows a lot of SUNY schools, but I was able to go to Stony Brook, and at Stony Brook, I was in the athletic training program. So we would work with the athletes, and when you get injured, the athletic trainers are the ones that would work with you. So as a student in that program, I got to follow around the athletic trainers, and what they would use is a 2-minute plank test for the athletes to be able to go back to practice. So if they're coming off an injury or something, and this is again, like a D1 standard. So it's a really high standard. 2 minutes is a long time for a plank. It's a very challenging standard, but that's where we're going to get you towards. And you're already at, so there's three checkpoints, 30 seconds, which you just hit past that. We have a minute, which is the next one we're going to work towards. And then 2 minutes is like the long-term goal. Each one has its inherent, like obviously strengths and benefits. So 30 seconds is a good foundational from a fitness perspective. 1 minute's like a really strong fitness level. 2 minutes and beyond is like, okay, we're really locking it in and helping again, not only prevent injury, but how we're going to shape our core and its functionality. So we've got about 45 more seconds. I'm going to stop ranting here for a second. I'm curious if we're basically going to do the same thing again. And what's going to happen more than likely is you more than likely are going to do less time than you did on the first round, which is totally okay. What we want to see though is how close to our first score can we get? The goal I always invite people to shoot for is a 20%, no more than 20% gap. So meaning you just did 40 seconds. We're going to try and shoot for 30 seconds or 32 seconds technically for the next one. But if you can do 20 seconds, that's fine as well. How does that all sound? Talk to me about
Sounds good to me. I'm surprised I did as long as I did. Come. Try to get my dog out of the way. Come.
They're like, no, we want to jump on you.
I know. Especially when I lay on the floor. Oh my God.
Yeah,
They try to do like the yoga poses with me, and then they're like, add the additional 80 pounds.
Oh yeah, that's the open invite to like, hey, we get to totally like join in on the fun.
All right, I could get back now.
Okay. All right, awesome. So now we are going to get back into it. I will reset the clock once you're up and running, and I'll keep you posted on the time.
All right.
You got this, Rose.
All right, here we go.
Ready? And let's rock. Boom. All right, so again, I'm going to try and distract you as we're going through this. So we got fun plans from the weekend, taking care of some business. And then I would that's the whole thing I talk to Gina about sometimes is like, if I had to constantly go to different restaurants and stuff, like, and so this is where I'll circle back to like, even one of the comments was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be really transparent with you. Like, I am super still insecure. I think I mentioned this in our last workshop. Look at you. You're at 30 seconds already about like my own body composition and like food and stuff, and just got back from New York and I was like hammering food and time. Beautiful. That was 35 seconds. So you're already, the reason I highlight this is there's less than 20% deviation. So you were able to hold within about a 15% gap to your first round. So there's not a huge drop off. So that means I look at from a muscular endurance standpoint or like a repeat effort standpoint, how close are we? So that's actually a really helpful direction or piece to know. And it's only just going to go up from here. But I'm saying all this to say, like, I love food, right? Like growing up in New York and growing up with like a lot of Italian like family and all that, like food's where it's at. So like how, like, do you, like, I can imagine, because I see how much Gina goes, like, how do you imagine being able to go out all the time and like the approach to food, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I feel like depending on the event, a lot of times, like when it's like a big one, you're kind of getting like little samples. So I feel like it's not like you're doing like full course. And sometimes they do family style, but you're sharing it with a lot of people. So I feel like when you go to these things, unless it's like with family, I tend to have like a lot of leftovers. Like I recently did one where I went with my like kids and husband and my mother. We ended up having like a lot of leftovers because there's only so much you can eat. But I try to get like a taste of each thing so I can at least be honest and like share what like I feel about it. But I'm not finishing like the plates or everything. So
yeah. Okay. So that's helpful too. So you get a lot of variety, and then you get things to take home too. Because like when I go out to eat, because I don't, I guess, eat that much, like, or go out to eat that much, I should say. When I go out to eat, like, I go hard in the paint, especially when it's in New York. So now what we're gonna do is now we're gonna bring it up to our feet as we transition, as we're chatting. Because the reason I asked too is looking for different. I love focusing on habits. So when it comes to like, hey, what are some things and strategies you have? Which it sounds like you implement this maybe indirectly already, which is being able to take whatever we order. Like one of the strategies I found really effective is like half of it I'm taking home. So immediately I'm boxing up half. Or this is what I like would work with people and coach them on is like, okay, we're going to take half. I just had this in a coaching session the other day. We take half the food and box it up. We can eat it when we get home, but we're not going to eat it at the restaurant because like it'll help with some of the portions and overall sizing of it. So now though, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our yellow bands again, and we're going to do what we call an overhead squat assessment. So that's a fancy way of saying that we're going to go through a squat, but we're going to try and have that tension in the bands. What we're doing before with those shoulder dislocates, we're going to have the bands up overhead, and we're going to just basically squat as far down as we can while simultaneously trying to keep those hands overhead. So if you notice, even as I do this, I have what we call a slight forward lean. I slightly lean forward because of some even imbalances and injuries I've accumulated over the years. So we're going to have you do 10 reps. For your first round, I'm going to have you do it where you face the camera. And the goal is to have it where I can see from your feet to your shoulders. So even in my position, I would probably drop it down just a little bit. So we want to try and get as full body of a shot as we can from the front angle. Then from the side angle, all I really need to see is from the hips to the shoulders. But for the first round, if you can, take a nice step back or get like a nice wide or a front shot so we can kind of see, yeah. And this way, what I'm looking for is from your feet, your knees, your hips, and your shoulders, what's happening. Because I'm going to take some notes for some different checkpoints.
Okay. So just pulling and squatting.
Yeah, you're keeping that band overhead and you're just squatting, and we're going to do that for 10 reps. And I want you each time exactly going within a pain-free range of motion. Good. 2, 3, 4. Nice. 5, 6, 8. 2 more. One more time. Boom, rest. Okay, awesome. So we're going to take, again, a minute to rest. And now we'll, again, rest. We'll do a second round. You're just going to basically do the same thing, but you're going to turn your body like 90 degrees so I can see it from the side profile. Okay. And I'm just jotting down some notes that jump out I mean, then I'll give you like a recap of all the notes afterwards. Guys, I don't like to give you too much feedback while we're doing it because then it can mess with the form and it like alters what I'm seeing. Talk to me about, again, this is the question I always like to ask, any pain and discomfort with that besides like maybe like just feeling it either in the legs or but what I care more about is like if there's pain, discomfort, even tightness.
No, I don't feel any. I don't feel like I don't feel like anything. If anything, like maybe like a little tightness, just because I'm still like getting used to like doing certain movements, especially at this weight. But I don't feel like it's not like unbearable. Like I can't push myself to do it. And I feel like pain is like part of it. So the more you do it, the easier it gets. And if I didn't feel pain, I would be questioning. If I wasn't struggling a little bit, I would be questioning. But
Okay.
it's not like nothing like, oh my God, I can't do this or it hurts too bad.
Okay, awesome. Well, I appreciate just the awareness and also the mindset too going into it. Like, hey, we want to get after it and be able to push it. But that's where, like, especially I think my job here a lot of the times is to make sure we're not pushing too hard, too fast, especially in the beginning, because that's where we can lead to like burnout and different things related to that. With that being said, we got like 10 more seconds. We're gonna do a one more round with this from the side profile. Again, keeping those arms up and getting through 10 squats. All right. When you're ready, I got you. I'll get the count going and I'll take my notes. Get it, Rose. Yes, ma'am. Nice. 2. Good. 3. 4. 5. Good. 6. 7. Good. 8. One more time. Beautiful. And rest. Awesome. All right. So we're going to take a minute. I'm going to take my notes. So, again, same question. Any pain, discomfort with that one besides like maybe just some tightness or a little bit of challenge in the legs?
No, not bad. Not bad at all.
Okay, good. So here's a couple of things that I look for. Now that we have it done, now I'm going to give you some like things I was looking for and what we want to do with that. So when it comes to the front position, I'm looking to see if your feet go in or out, if they're like rotating out, rotating in. If your knees are going out or in, it's not necessarily inherently bad if feet go out. What I look for and what we want to kind of consider is, do our knees track with our feet? So if our feet slightly turn out, which you actually like, I was surprised your feet didn't necessarily want to rotate out that much or your knees go out that much. That's really common when I see a lot of people. You didn't have that much, honestly. And again, it's not that it's bad or good. It's just being aware of it, but your feet and your knees track together, which is a great thing because then we don't have to consider as much potential injury risk there. The other thing was having our posture and our range of motion. So you have pretty good posture, but there is some what we call slight forward lean, which is natural to some degree. So to me, that's good feedback. We're going to do a lot of like posterior work. Like even what I get to focus on a lot because of different things and injuries. But what's ironic is being a parent, you're doing a lot of like holding of the kids, I would imagine, or have, and depending on where like kids are at size wise and age wise, that changes over time, but we still get to like, there's work to that, but sometimes we'll have different compensation patterns. I didn't see as much like left to right though, where you were like rotating one degree or the other. Is a long-winded way of saying overall looks good. Pretty solid range of motion. We're going to keep working though on the depth of your range of motion, getting deeper into the hips, loosening up the hamstrings, the back of your legs a little bit more to help facilitate that, strengthening out both sides, and being able to get more of even like the upper back muscles combined with that. But again, that's like a brief overview. I'll get really dialed in as I write up the whole program. Now we pretty much just have one more thing we're going to do, the last little piece, and then we're going to stretch and cool it down, and then we're done. This one we're going to bring down to the ground again. We're going to do a push-up variation, but not like your traditional how we would approach push-ups. It's a little bit of a test more than anything else. But how does that all sound? Or talk to me about questions on anything.
No, that sounds good. This doesn't sound like this is like, thankfully, like I'm a little bit familiar to some of this, so I don't feel like it's too foreign, but like I said, just getting used to doing all these things, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're cruising right along. So literally the last thing we're going to do. So what we're looking for from this last one is it's not like a max push-up test in the traditional sense. What I'm actually looking for is we're going to start in this top end push-up position. So again, we're using that what I call natural lie hand position. So our arms are naturally at our side. And we're just kind of like dragging our hands forward until we get to about our shoulders. And then we're going to get into a high plank position or that high push-up position, similar to that low plank we're doing. But now what we're going to focus on is I'm going to have you pay attention to what my elbows do. So I'm going to have you lower your body until eventually you have to like come down to the ground, okay? And if you can completely lower your body down to the ground and pause and get your hands off the ground, which I'll bring this camera down, then that's the test. So what we're looking for is being able to slowly lower our body until our chest touches the ground. If we can get our hands off the ground, great. If at some point we're like, I can't go anymore and we collapse, that's okay too. That's what we're taking notes on. But I wanted to bring attention to what my elbows do. It's tempting for a lot of us for our elbows to go out super wide or for our elbows to go in super tight. What we're looking for is kind of that middle ground. So it's not super tight. It's not super wide. It's right in the middle. It's about 45 degrees. So we're going to start in this top push-up position, and we're lowering ourselves until we can't lower anymore. And then we come down to the ground. If you can, again, control the full movement all the way down to the ground, that's great. And that's kind of like the last checkpoint or the last thing we're looking for from today. Again, I'm just going to keep bringing the cameras up and down here as we go through. With that being said, let's see if we're already lined up. And if you need to widen, it's like we can adjust the hands a little bit if it feels a little restrictive, even though it looks good from here. And yeah, we're just trying to get those elbows going backwards, not fully tight to our body, 45-degree angles. So a little bit in between. And now you're just going to lower your body down. Nice, slow and control until we hit that sticking point. So you can't control it anymore. Yes, perfect. Nice.
And then like this?
Yep. And then rest. All right. So now we're going to reset, come all the way back up to the top. We're going to do that one more time. I'm just going to take a couple of notes. I want you to reset that same position. We'll do that one more time. That was beautiful. Talk to me about any pain, any discomfort with that.
I feel like I definitely don't have any upper arm strength. If there's a weak point, it's definitely I feel like my arms, like holding myself up and doing push-ups. I can definitely feel the struggle.
This is like, again, we're looking for where there might be challenges, but it's a great opportunity too to like enhance things. So let's go through that one more time. Nice. Great. Yes. Awesome. Okay. And rest. So now we're just going to rest for a minute. Okay. And now, because that looks so good, actually, I wasn't sure. I wanted to see how this feels. I'm going to have you do is we're going to now just stretch, but I'm going to give you some like really cool direction right off the bat. I can tell from that. I wasn't sure. I wanted to see where we were, even though it sounds like, yeah, I don't feel confident in my upper body. That was really good control, to be honest with you. There's a lot of opportunity to bring when we have the bands and doing different types of resistance to pull off of that. But I'm just going to kind of jot a note down. So, and as you were coming down, talk to me about, was there any pain, any discomfort with it?
No pain. I just felt like I had, like, it's hard to do. Like, it's like, I know, like, okay, as I'm going down, like, it's hard to hold my upper body up, but it's not like painful. It's just like, oh shit, I can't do this.
Yeah. And that, I mean, honestly though, like really did a good job of like controlling that throughout. And that's why I like to see it, because that lowering phase is the most challenging for our muscles, or the lengthening phase of the tissue. And that's what we were kind of testing there. So now what we're going to do is now we basically just get to stretch. So we just worked hard. We did all the like assessment stuff. In every workout we're going to do, it's key to we warm up and then stretch and then do our workout. We're going to cool down. But I want to be mindful of, again, it doesn't have to take 20 minutes to cool down either. So we're going to do some pretty basic stuff to help our body cool down, relax, and stretch. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay, and this is probably like my two favorite things. And this is kind of pulling from yogi practices and like kind of corpse pose or different variations from that. We're just going to lay flat on our back. And we're going to have our arms out wide and our legs are out in front. But instead of just going right into our corpse pose, what we're going to do is we're going to hug our knees into our chest. Okay, so I'll give you even a side angle. And we're going to let our head rest on the ground. And we're just going to hold and hug those knees into our chest and breathe for 30 seconds. So we're just inhaling and exhaling. So it gets nice lengthening of the lower back, as well as getting some stretch in the back muscles and relaxing everything up here. And if you want to, if you can reach your arms around, but this tends to be really hard from like arm length perspective. Depending on, I just have longer arms, so it's easier. You don't have to worry about that. We just can kind of grab onto our knees, pull them in, hold for 30 seconds, and then we'll go straight up into our corpse pose, which is just legs go out straight, Arms go out straight. And we're just going to breathe here for 1 minute. And that's how we're going to bring it home from like a static stretching and a cool down perspective. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, and you can also, if you want to, you can either grab on your knees or behind your knees, or I should say like on our hamstrings. That tends to feel more comfortable, at least for me as well, depending on how tight my legs are feeling that way, or that day, I should say. So we're going to do this for, again, another like 20 seconds. And then we'll go into just like fully every lengthening things out. And that is it. So you already crushed your, this is your second workout, I guess, of the week, or I don't want to say, like even underplaying, there's other movements and things going on, but so we got the diagnostic done. One of the things I like to ask as we're stretching and cooling down and resting. So now lengthen those legs out, put those legs out straight, arms out at your side, and just relax here for 1 minute breathing. I'm curious, like, how did that feel versus what you were expecting? Sometimes you're like unsure what to expect, or because you've trained before, you know what's up. Like maybe that was kind of in alignment, or maybe it was even easier, a little bit harder. Like I always love feedback and like to hear what's kind of going on.
I feel like that was like in the middle. Like you never know like how intense things are going to be. Like I have tried some like trials, and sometimes it's like, okay, I don't know what the heck I was doing. Like that was really extreme. I feel like this was like a medium. Like it was challenging, but not like impossible. Like I could do these things, and I know where like I have some weaknesses, like my upper strength, my balance. So it's not like I'm naive that, and like I understand that it's gonna take some time to like build strength back up. So, but I feel like it was doable. Like this wasn't like super hard or like challenge, like completely impossible, or like I didn't have to like push myself to do a lot of the moves. So.
Okay, well, I appreciate that feedback. That's helpful to know. And now, so what we're going to do is, as I always wrap this up and rest, you can slowly kind of bring it up. And that's pretty much it. The only thing I do like to check in on is, hey, like, what if anything is feeling tight? I always like to do what I call a pulse check or a body scan or a body check. If there's particular muscles or areas in your body feeling tight, we can address those beyond just like what we just did to calm our nervous system down and breathe and lengthen a little bit.
I always feel like it's that I sometimes feel it in my like hips or legs that like they're just like naturally like tight. Like I just like, I don't know. Like sometimes I feel like I need to stretch them a lot more than other areas, like my hips and my legs.
Yes. Okay. So that's super helpful. And so hips I got, and then for your legs, you usually feel in the front or the back or both?
Sometimes it's like some areas more than other. I feel like it's a combo. Like I sometimes get it in the front and the back.
Okay, beautiful. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of flip it over. And when I say flip it over, we're going to kind of go on our knees here. And we're going to go into, really, we're going to bring our hips down. So this is, again, pulling another yogi kind of movement. We're going to go into a cobra pose if that feels okay. Or we can do sphinx, which is from our forearms. I tend to do sphinx, where it's from the forearms instead, because of my back and some lower back injuries that sometimes going all the way up here doesn't feel so good. So we're going to do that for about 15 to 30 seconds, whichever feels better. And then we're going to combine that with a child's pose variation where we'll just kick our hips back, which will help, again, lengthen a little bit more of the legs and our shins and getting a little more of the lower back as well. But this way we'll get the hips, a little bit more of those legs. All right, ready? I got us on the clock. And again, whichever feels comfortable. Like I like that pose right there. But if you extend your arms, if that feels okay, you'll get more of a stretch in the hips. But for me, that just tends to be a lot of a stretch that my lower back doesn't love. Yeah, like how's that feeling?
That's good.
Nice. Beautiful. So yeah, so we're going to get it going for another like 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2. And now I'm going to have you just kick your butt back to your heels, your hips back to your heels, and we'll lengthen out those arms. So again, kind of butt goes back as best we can. Arms are going to go out in front, and we're just going to hold it there and let our head kind of relax and chill. We'll hold that for about 15 seconds or so and just breathing here, lengthening out again that lower back, getting a little bit more stretching in the quads, the front of our legs. The only drawback sometimes I like to be mindful of is the pressure on our knees. So I just want to see, how does that feel like pressure-wise on the knees?
That's fine. The knees don't, it's not hurting my knees.
All right, cool. So we're going to hold it for about another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then lastly, what we'll do is just for the back of your legs, I'm gonna have you sit up and we're just gonna bring your legs out in front of you and just old school hamstring stretch. So we're gonna have those legs out, toes flexed up towards the ceiling, and however far you comfortably feel that you can go, that still feels okay, we'll go. Whether that goes to our knees, our shins, or all the way to our toes. For this one, I actually don't care as much about your back being perfectly flat, by the way. A lot of times we'll have that cue of like nice flat back. Here we can actually round the back, because at the end of the workout, getting a nice lengthening stretch from it can feel really good, especially for those back muscles we were using for the plank and even working through the push-up. And I got you on the clock. How's that feeling though? Like even on the back of the legs?
I could feel it in the back of my legs. Like I could feel the stretch.
We want. That's what we're going for.
I feel like I'm not even doing much and I feel it.
And that's like and this is what we're going to do over time. We're going to work on different like quad or the front of our leg activation movements over time, lengthening out the back part. But here's the highlight. The things that are jumping out to me that we're going to work on is some left to right movements for your lower body, because you actually have some really good balance there and time. You can keep on stretching if you want to, but that's pretty much all the movement, stretches, and work I got. I just figured I'll break down and get some of this coffee off my nose. Break down what's jumping out at me. And then what I always do is, again, like I was saying before, I'm going to take 24 hours and then tomorrow I'm going to reach out with the full breakdown of, hey, here's what I'm thinking as far as our split, being able to figure out how we want to break it down. I'm just going to jot this on my notebook too. Workout plan. And then I'll also check in tomorrow to see if there's any soreness or anything jumping out at you, because sometimes we may have soreness and we may not. It's okay if we do or we don't. I just like to check. And then we'll go through what makes sense. I'll be honest with you, though. The thing I like to start with is not going right into 3, 4, 5 days a week, even though we talk maybe like 3 feels realistic. I would say we start with 2 for like the next 2 weeks. And that's how I'll build your program. And then from there, we can progress. If you feel good, even next week and the week after, you want to do a third one, I'll have something for you. But I'm curious how that sounds to start with maybe 2 days over the next 2 weeks that we'll play with from workouts. I'll give you something maybe you can do on your own, and then we'll find a time, maybe if we can keep Fridays, if it works for you. And if not, we can find another time that we'll work out together and kind of build on what we're doing.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think it would be good to start off small and then build up. So it's not so much. I think my body will appreciate that. 4 or 5 days, my body might go in shock. I might not be able to move by day 3.
So I always go back to sustainability. The goal is to build sustainability in habits and positive associations. So yeah, with that being said, that's pretty much all I've got. I want to kick it back to you though, to see like what questions that might bring up. And again, I'm going to be like going over everything, and we'll set up time to review even more when it comes to the workout side of it. The one thing I guess I will throw out there too is I'm curious to ask from a habit perspective. The one thing I want to offer as a habit for the next week ahead, I don't want you to actually change that much when it comes to the nutrition side. And I'll send this tomorrow as well. I'm going to send you a cheat sheet around some items to get from the store. But other than that, just being able to take pictures of your food, whether it's with the app, once we get that set up, or whether it's just on your phone. Since you're like, you naturally, like, I'm imagining when you go out to stuff, you're taking pictures anyway. It doesn't have to be like for Instagram reason or like for social media photos. Like literally it could be like a blurry, just like, I just want to see what's going down. And there's some really cool data around when we take pictures of food, it brings our awareness to it. It changes sometimes even the volume at which we're eating or our awareness to it. But I'm curious how that sounds as far as maybe a habit for the next week ahead is just taking pictures of food where we can.
All right. That sounds good. That's easy.
Sweet. All right. I like that one. And then I'm going to see if I realized I had it like zoomed out the whole time. So I'm like zooming it back in now that we're not moving. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, what I'm thinking about doing, I honestly, like, I have about like 40-ish minutes before my next call. I might even do a workout. So I might stay live. So anyone that's watching, I might just stay live and do my own back and upper body workout. If you guys want to hang for that. But also, I just want to say, Rose, thanks for like, again, entrusting me and being down to do this, being down to live stream it. I'm going to go back and again, we'll download everything and I'll send you that. I'm also going to have like cool thing with the platform I use. It'll chop it up into little clips to see what clips are usable from that. And yeah, we'll just like keep kicking butt.
Yeah, this was fun. I like this. I feel like it's better having someone tell me what to do than it is, trying to do it on my own. And like, I know like it's just like getting over that, like, okay, we have to do this at like 11 o'clock. Like, I'm just going to do it. And then having someone be there, like, okay, like this is what we need to work on. Because I've done like some like videos on like YouTube and stuff, but it's like you have to like push yourself to do that, but then actually do it while you're standing there. Like you don't actually have someone actively going like, okay, like it's time to switch that position or like change your posture. Like you could work here, like this is a little bit more custom. So, and a little bit more, like, like not boot camp, but it's more aggressive. Like you need, like for some of us, I feel like we need this.
Yeah, and I would say too, the thing that I'll always have prepared for us, and everyone on my team does this strategy of like, we will be prepared for if we need to regress a movement. I mean, it's a fancy way of saying we have to make it easier depending on the day, how sore we are, we slept the night before, those types of things, or make it harder. Which, if hey, you're like crushing through it, and I have this plan, you're like, yo, I can do even more. We can also have the progression to it where it'll be harder as well. So yeah, I'm excited. And I appreciate that feedback, and I'm really looking forward to. Here's the other thing too is like, and for everyone like, I guess on the watching side, like we'll take this in 100-day blocks and be able to see, but being able to go through what we want to create. I know we kind of talked about some of our goals, and I'll diving into that to you tomorrow when we follow up. But really, even from now even until like Joshua Tree, it'll be fun because it's like a month out. So we'll have some fun. We'll get to celebrate in California from here to then. And it'll be fun to even have a comparison to where we're at. And then to keep, again, the goal is to make this progressive and to be able to have it be sustainable, not just for like the next 100 days and then that's it. It's like the next 100 days, but then also the rest of our life. We have these tools, skills, and how we approach things that are adaptable with us.
Yes. That's all, like I wanted to be able to something that I could stick with. That's, like, and, like you said, I know there's a lot of room for improvement. So
yeah, but honestly, I would say too, like, I want to invite like acknowledging and being proud of where you're at right now too. There's also a lot of things that you've had from putting in work that you can already see is there, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like you already have that foundation of things and strength that have clearly served you, that your body, it's cool. Like there's the muscle memory component to it, like the kind of efficiency that your body will be able to pull like muscle. Because and this will be the last data point before I'll like let you go, and then I'll get into my workout too. Or I'm not trying to kick you out of here. You're more than welcome to hang, but I know like you got life and all these things. But once we work out and we get to our goal, let's say we hit like the body composition we want or the strength that we want or whatever, you only need to maintain the training volume by 1/3 to keep your body's muscle mass and the strength results. So for example, if we're training, we get up to 3 days a week and we hit our goal, you technically only need to train 1 day a week to maintain it from a strength perspective. You provide that stimuli, you can cut it back by 30% and you'll still be able to maintain the results and the progress and the strength that you've made in your muscles. So that's what I think is like super cool is like, yes, it could be some work to get there, but also we eventually can pull back and it's not like it requires that same amount of energy the entire time. We can kind of adjust and pull back as we need to.
Makes sense. Like you don't have to have the same intensity. Like it's not like you have to work out every single day for the rest of your life. And God forbid you miss like 2 days. That's it. You lose everything.
Exactly.
I feel like that's the mentality like some of us have from like growing up. Is like if we didn't do it, that's it. Like you can take a couple of days off once you get to a certain goal. And I feel like you step back and it's not going to be like your body completely forgot or you lost all the muscles and memory.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So again, looking forward to it. Now I get to get my fun in and pick them up before my own coaching session. So again, if you guys want to like hang out too long, also to just wrap it up, make sure you guys are following Rose. I put everything in the description. Follow her on social media, especially if you're in the New York area and you also have maybe like a business or something you want to promote or you want to collab or connect. I would highly invite you to reach out to Rose. She's got just great insight and also a great person from my experience of you. And I appreciate it. So make sure you check her.
I appreciate it. And, thank you for those that watched. And if you do follow me, don't be shy. You can hit me up in the DMs or like I said, he said, if you're local, I don't mind. I love supporting local businesses, especially like mom and pops. I know how important, especially right now with everything going on, everybody needs like all the reviews and attention on their, to feed their families. So, but I appreciate you taking your time and everything. I'm going to go let these dogs out before they destroy my room because I moved them so that they wouldn't attack me. But I will talk later and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So I appreciate you. I'll see you later. Okay.
Alrighty. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye. All right, y'all. So I'm just gonna run to the bathroom real quick, and then we're gonna try and finish up this or get into this upper body workout while we can. And yeah, get into my coaching session while I got the time for it. I'll BRB. It's gotta run to the bathroom. All right, y'all. So now got our potty break in. Time to get into the workout. I'm gonna try and see if I can position all the cameras to get the shots that we want to. And yeah, let's get it. If you guys have questions, let me know. First thing we're going to do is, while I was kind of warming up with Rose just by going through everything, I'm still going to do about 3 minutes of shadow boxing to get my upper body nice and primed for everything we're about to do. So I'm going to set the clock and I'm going to get after it. Let's see if I can kind of position it where I'm in the shot and we're rocking and rolling. And the goal again here is just trying to get my body temperature up. And that's something that you'll see. So the cool thing I really appreciate Rose for is being down to even do this live. And I think we're probably going to keep that Friday rhythm as long as both of our schedules allow. So you guys can kind of tune in and follow along on Rose's journey and health and wellness and her progressions, not only with the workouts, but with nutrition, so that you can literally track along and follow in real time. And if you have questions even on like any of the products and stuff, now that it's just me running it solo, feel free to ask questions. I'll happily answer where I can on either my like supplements, the protein, the gear that I'm using, the bands, all that good stuff. So yeah, perfect. We're getting that heart rate out of it. So today I have a little bit less time. I got like 30 minutes for the workout. So we're going to modify things just a little bit as far as, instead of doing like 4 sets, I'll probably end up doing 3 sets, or I might even pull out one of the supersets. We'll just kind of see. I may just not. It's technically supposed to be a full upper body workout. I may just do chest, back, and then I'll leave shoulders and arms to tomorrow, or getting in some jiu-jitsu. Let's see where we're at. Perfect timing. Hurry up. We got a nice little 2 minute. I always like to, again, hit 2 minutes of some jiu-jitsu work, 2 minutes of my Muay Thai kind of shadow boxing work. And now we're going to go right into, first thing we have is a press variation with a pull down variation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify that by doing a standing chest press. And then I'm going to do I might even still do an anchored pull down variation. Let's see. Yeah, I'm probably actually going to turn this into a floor press. So what I mean by floor press is literally what it sounds like. We're going to go down to the floor. You guys will come down with me. Let's check to see the angle here. You guys can kind of see the angle. And I'm going to be working this from the floor. So we're going to put these bands behind me and get into our pressing mechanic. Okay. So I like to kind of show the angle. You know what? I need a little bit more resistance. What we're going to do, and this is where having the bands as a set become helpful. I can throw in my red bands here as well. I'm not really actually going to need the handles, so we're just going to grab it with my hands. And again, we're going for 8 through 12. So I'm going to just pull the slack out and getting into our press. Oh, yeah, the red added the nice layer of resistance. Okay. So now we're going to superset that with a lat pull down variation. So I'm going to anchor with the door frame, and we are going to get our bands hooked up in here. So I want you guys to see, check this out. Look how simple it is, by the way, to hook up our bands. Let's see if the angle's right on that. Here we go. Perfect. So I can just throw this right in here, anchor it in the door. Now I've got a place I can hook my bands onto. It's that easy. So got our anchor point already up there. I'm going to throw in, so we got the red bands with a different handle. Now I'm just going to add in. So ideally I'm trying to work with a 1-to-1 push to pull ratio, meaning whatever I'm pressing with, I'm trying to get equal resistance on the pull mechanic. So I'm going to just slide this right through onto my handles. So then even on the next round, I can keep them on. It'll just be easier that way. And the one thing we did get feedback on was having the clips be a little bit bigger. So we ended up sending bigger clips, but I wanted to just kind of be as efficient as possible here and not search for my other bigger clips for my other band set. We're just working through an old band set. But I will say this was really helpful feedback to see like how tricky it is to get the big green band on here. It's fine for the red, the yellow, even the black, but purple and green, it's a little bit trickier. So we took everyone's feedback. We actually decided to get a bigger clamp. So if you can see the difference here, this is the one it was coming with. This is the one we upgraded to. It's a little bit beefier, a little bit bigger, so that you actually don't have the same struggle that I'm having right now. But instead of opening up our new sets, I'm just keeping the one I have. And it still works. It just takes an extra like 5 seconds, as you can see. Then I'm going to clamp this on to our bands. Jeez. So loud. And voila. And then we're off to the races. So that's my right. This is my left. So again, now, and what I can do here as well, let me clip on both sides. So it'll be nice and even. I could just loop it through actually. So we'll pull this down and show you how simple it is to loop it through instead. Easier that way. So I could just anchor, but instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it through. Is that for this one, it's actually going to just be easier to slide this through for the anchor point. Oh my God, it's so loud. Thank goodness Hope is not sleeping. If Hope was sleeping, that would not be a great time. So again, I'm using my ball here. I'm going to set up the bands. Let's change the angle. Kind of eating up a little bit of time because the initial setup. But now that we got it set up, get into, again, this nice lat pull down. I'm going to change my camera angle here just a little bit so you guys can kind of see the full range of motion. Oh, man. Yeah, I might even have to kick off the red. Might be too much. But the cool thing is, notice how if I want to adjust, I could just move in a little bit. We're going to just anchor it down all the way to the ground instead of the ball, and then anchor and root in with my feet. adding in that red definitely kicked it up a notch. And what I'll do for the next superset is I'll get you a better angle. So we're gonna just pull this anchor point a little bit more in the center. And we'll take a minute and then we'll go back into our floor press. Now, the only tricky thing is this is where going back and forth can be tricky if you're using the anchor as a clip-on, but that's why I like using it just as a slide through. So it's way easier to take it on and off. Look how much faster that was to just slide on and off. Now we'll go back to the ground, get our floor press in, and we'll get round number 2. And again, if you guys got questions, obviously let me know. Oh, let me pull up. I realize I don't have my live on Amazon pulled up. I'll pull that up as well. So if you guys have questions there, I can tag in. I got you guys. See if we got any questions in the chat. No, don't think we have any questions. Perfect. But yeah, if you guys do have questions, you let me know. I got you. All right, so we're going to set this back up. And again, I don't have to use the handle. The drawback to the handle when you're doing a floor press is, let me just show you, like, look how much slack is in the bands. So I'm giving up about, what is that, like 6 inches or so, 8 inches. So I'll say 6. So now instead I'm just going back to the band. So I get more tension pretty much right off the floor, right into the press. So see, right from here, once my elbows are about to leave the ground, I'm immediately going to get tension from the bands. Let me make sure. Red as well. We'll get into it. Okay. So round number 2, let's bring it back up. And now watch how simple the setup is now that I have the anchor point going right into my diagnostic. We slide it right through, getting into that lap. Bam. Again, what I like for this chair here is being able to sit from the floor so I can kind of anchor my feet as well. So I'm going to kind of show a nice anchored position, get my coffee out of the way. Same thing over here. Boom. This way you guys can kind of see even distribution. Yeah, I can, again, go with my feet, anchor it, and get that nice full range of motion still. Let's see if you guys, I think that's a little bit better of an angle, right? Okay, so there's 12. We got 2. We'll rest for a minute. We'll go one more superset. Let's see what we got next. From our workout. Then we're gonna go. Yeah, we got a bent over row, and then an press variation. I'll probably turn it into an incline press, just because I'm gonna save shoulders for tomorrow with biceps. Or if I do my overhead press, I'll modify it a little bit. Slide this back, bam. So I appreciate the bands, just like super versatile. Like whether you're in a hotel room, you're in a small, home office bedroom setup, or you're just on the road for whatever reason, or even if you're in a full-blown gym, being able to add bands into your workout has its own benefit as well. These are just like overall a great investment option. Okay. Let's see. position it up. Oh, geez. One more set. Let's get it. Change handle. There we go. I like it on the outside for the heavier band press versus the inside. I like it on the inside more for like a shoulder press, but for my chest press, see, I'll have it on the outside wrapping around my wrist versus on the inside. So again, let's set up for the lat pull down for the last round. All right, so again, pivot, swivel right over here. Pivot, swivel right over here. So you guys can kind of see. How we're doing on time? I got 20 more minutes. We're keeping it tight today. Tight time. We're making it work. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like to anchor those feet. Anchor point, full stretch. All right, Anna. One more. Oh, yeah. All right, so we're gonna rest a minute. Now we're gonna go into a bent over row variation and a press variation. I'll probably end up doing a Arnold press variation possibly, or maybe even a DeFranco press. And then I'll do a banded bent over row variation. I think I can take the anchor out actually. Or, you know what we'll do? I'm going to put the anchor on the bottom. So that's the other cool part. Is you can do it from the top, bottom, side. You got a lot of versatility to where the resistance is coming from. Okay. So we're going to get a bent over row variation again with a overhead press. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to clip off the handle really quick. Boom. Now, so another strategy I've also learned to work with is literally just clipping the handle off one, clipping it on the other. Sometimes it's easier to swap it that way. So for example, I'm going to trade out that handle, clip it right onto here. Same thing over here. Clip it on this one. So again, clipping off the handle. Boom. clipping on this one. And then we're going to have red. I'll also throw on the purple on here as well. Just for the row, that's just the right of resistance. And then take it from there. Yeah, again, the like bigger clips are way more helpful, which is why we trade them out. But this one, we're going to keep it. There we go. Now we slide this through. Bam. Now I can go left, right, get our bent over row. Or if I wanted to, again, I could just stand on it, but I like being able to do this kind of a bent over row variation. Let's change the positioning so you guys can kind of see. And again, positioning my body with application to the angle of force. Let's just whoop, pull this back a little bit more. There you go. Up. And I got you guys. I got you. I got you. So we're going to keep it for 12. And now we're going to go with, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to modify to doing a kneeling shoulder press. So I think the black band's going to be good for this one. This will be about 30 to 60 pounds of resistance. Top end. This will be just the right amount of force that we want to create. Get our hydration on here too, y'all. So what I'm doing is I'm going to kneel on the band itself to be able to provide the proper anchor point and resistance that I want. Because I'm short on time, I might only do 2 sets of this back and forth, but we'll see. So again, this is where I like it on the ins. This kind of positioning. And then we're just going to go with somewhat of a modified Arnold press / neutral press. So I'm keeping palms facing in. As I press, I rotate them out. One of the things I like to add to this too is a little rotation and reach. Let me see if this angle you can catch what the upper body's doing too. All right, we're gonna switch sides. Same kind of mechanic and mechanism going here. Bam. I'll turn this angle a little. So that's our first superset. Take a minute. I think I actually might be able to do 3. We'll have just enough time for 3 on these. I'm going to pause. Let me just check in, see if we got any questions while taking a minute. Okay. Yeah, I think that's looking good. Looking good. How are we doing over here? Looking good. Okay, yeah, so we got that. And then, yeah, I'm just going to save the arms for tomorrow. So we'll do just our kind of push-pull for chest back, a little bit of shoulders, and yeah, saving the rest for tomorrow as far as the arms. All right, we're at 45 seconds. I got 10 more seconds of rest. I'm going to our next superset. And then I'll also be back, not tomorrow, but Sunday. We're going to have our office hours, but stay tuned because the time we're still a little up in the air. So wherever you're watching this, just make sure you're following, subscribing, and you'll be able to stay up to date on our live stream when we pop in for the office hours. I'll get that set and situated. Okay, let's get into our next round. We got our bent over rows. Let's go, y'all. Oh, let's just reposition here. Well, and again, let's get kneeling press. Gonna play with this angle just a little bit so you can see the shoulders a little bit more. Pull this back here. There we go. Line over here. And again, I'm not just pressing, I'm also getting a little bit of rotation, which helps get a little bit more of a punch at the top. Switch to the sides. So we got minutes of rest. We got one more round on the day, y'all. I think I got literally just perfect timing to be able to get into my coaching as well. Let me. My phone's got like 10% battery. I have to charge that puppy here in a minute, right? Let's see if I can get logged in. No, we don't want that. That's what we want. Okay. All right, what we got? 10 more seconds. Perfect. Okay. Last round. Let's go, y'all. Uh-oh. Next round on the shoulder presses, and we're getting out of here. We got coaching, y'all. Two more. That's gonna do it, y'all. I even have a couple minutes to spare, which is perfect to help cool down, stretch, and clean up all the stuff I got over here. But that is it. That was all, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the live. Yeah, I'll be back on Sunday. If you're not already, please follow, subscribe, share your comments, whether it's critical, trolling, positive, whatever. I always do appreciate hearing from you guys. So thanks, and see you on the next one. Later, y'all.